This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 428 for the week of Monday, July 18th, 2016. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
On today's show, we have translator for One Piece in Weekly Shonen Jump, our very special guest, Stephen Paul. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, Zach. Once again, I took a break from talking after last week's podcast, and so my voice is back and ready to go.
That's good to hear, Stephen. That was a fantastic podcast that was riddled with issues on my end, but I hope you guys enjoy that. I think we'll probably at some point release a version of that with a lot more pictures, probably for Patreon followers, so please subscribe on there if you haven't. We also have a YouTube sensation, RogersBase, is with us. Hey, Roger.
What's going on, everybody? Been playing a lot of Pokemon Go, been platinuming One Piece Burning Blood, living the dream.
That sounds like the dream. I was wondering today, like, at anime conventions, what it will be like with everyone playing Pokemon Go and running into each other.
I mean, it's a nightmare already. Like, just walking to the Americana, like walking around the Americana in Glendale, people are running into each other left and right. And I should point out, like, it's not children playing Pokemon Go.
No.
It's grown-ass adults playing Pokemon Go. They're like 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds wandering around, catching their Pikachus, their Grimers, their Tauros. Hey, I like it that way, though. It's fun.
I mean, I've seen videos like in Central Park. It's all 20-somethings just,
yeah,
and they're all just sitting there on their phone looking around. Look, I'm not going to judge.
There's like a group of 30 people at the park right next to me, and I join them. We're just catching Pokemon sitting on a bench.
Yeah, I was a little bitter last week, but you know, I looked at the game. It is cool. If I played it, I would not have a fiance probably at the end of the day. Jill, how's it going? We have you on the show, our editorial writer.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, I am got chased out of a public property by a security guard at 12:30 at night playing Pokemon Go the other night. And then
so you're that one.
And then had the police pull up to me. And then he was just like, that security guard is weird. We like you guys. I was going to come join you guys. So,
you know, Jill, it's not an excuse for being on top of a building with a crowbar at 1:30 in the morning and say you're playing Pokemon Go. I saw that tweet you retweeted earlier today.
I had to get it, man. That goddamn Pidgey, man.
We also have the dude with us. Hey, dude. Alex is also your name. So I'm told.
Yeah, it is.
I did that in the least awkward way possible.
Oh, good. Thank God. Yeah, I'm also playing Pokemon Go, but extremely casually. Like, guys, come on. I've played Pokemon before. I'm an old vet. Like, I know what it's about. I know what's happening here. But the battle system sucks, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. It's terrible.
I think they're probably going to fix it. I think in some update, I think this is like just the first go of it.
Oh, yeah. They have to have trading, too, because they said they would do that at least.
Yeah. Or you could transfer it, because like certain Pokemon are only in certain areas of the world. Like you could only get Farfetch'd in Asia. So I'm not going to take a plane ride to Asia to catch a Farfetch. Like I want to trade with somebody.
That's why I'm part of the Sylph Road, which is a nationwide Pokemon trainer pit stop thing where we're going to trade across the way to get people what they need.
All right. Let's
prefer
not
the
plug
Silk
stuff
Road.
at the beginning of the...
So this is the One Piece podcast. Today we're going to be going through chapter 832. I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to have some controversial opinions on certain things, and we'll get to it. Anyway, it's called The Kingdom of Germa. And the anime, we didn't get a chance to do the recap this week, but there's no anime next week. So we're going to have the recap for you then. So it's just a delayed anime recap. You guys could listen to the end of the Silver Mine filler arc with our own Sam Leach then. Hopefully I could join him for that. There's a couple other things, including a lot of One Piece film gold news. That I just want to mention, mostly to infuriate all us Americans who are here right now. So the latest news is that One Piece Film Gold was licensed in China and Spain to add to an enormous list of countries, which even I couldn't memorize. It is getting a confirmed theatrical release in Malaysia, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, and the United Arab Emirates and Abu Dhabi. This past weekend was the premiere. Which we'll actually have a lot of very cool exclusive news on our site later in the week. Also Indonesia, Germany, Austria, France, Italy, Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland, and also Japan. Wow,
shock there.
Yeah. We have not yet heard from Funimation as to whether or not it's coming out in North America, U.S., Canada, and we haven't heard the UK. That's a big one. That most of the Anglosphere actually.
We haven't heard Djibouti yet. That's actually shocking.
No, One Piece is coming out in Sub-Saharan Africa right
good.
now, I think. Yeah, but
really?
not the movie, just the series. So I think that's great news.
What about Zanzibar, Zach? What about Zanzibar?
Well, Zanzibar is part of Tanzania now, so I don't know what Tanzania is.
Well, damn it, Zach. We need to know. The people need to know.
So, yeah, any thoughts on that? I think it's exciting as hell, even though I'm sad we're not part of that.
Oh, no, it's super exciting. It's like actually kind of ridiculous how big of a push there is for it. I don't remember there being this much of a push for One Piece movies in the past.
I actually have a theory behind that. So I have a feeling that they're going to be pushing One Piece a lot more from here on out just because they can't milk Naruto forever. And now that Naruto's finally going to end in the anime this October, like I feel like they're not going to have anything left. Boruto, not a lot of people are liking. And so of the big three, and now that Bleach is ending, the only one left is going to be One Piece. So I think from here on out, we're going to get like non-stop One Piece action.
Yeah, you can see it at cons. It's like the same thing. It used to be a lot of those big three, and there's a hell of a lot more One Piece now than there used to be.
I saw 4 Senior Pinks at the last convention, and I was the only one at the one I did it for. So just to show how much it's grown in the place of a year, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to see the cosplay trends as the podcast has gone along. There's all Full Metal Alchemist and Bleach when we started.
There were, at our first convention, we went to NecoCon, and there was 2.5 cosplays. I'd say half because it was a kid dressed as Chopper. But the crazy thing about all this, too, is that the One Piece Film Gold release in Abu Dhabi was supposed to be in Las Vegas originally.
Oh.
And I don't know if it was on our end or they just convinced them, it makes sense, Vegas. It's a movie about a casino.
I would have taken a trip. I would have gone to Vegas to see the premiere.
I would have gone to Vegas.
I would have
much further away.
Yeah. I would have written that off on my taxes and been like, "Yo, man, Vegas trip. That's it."
Me too. To all of that.
We would have lost all our money at the casinos.
That's also accurate. But we would have done it together, Jill.
That's right.
Nakama.
Sure.
We don't use that word here.
Bleep that.
Okay, so we're also going to be at MatsuriCon on August 19th through 21st. We're going to have a few panels there. We're going to have a lot more details about that in the coming weeks, so please stay tuned to that. There's also a special contest where you could interview the voice actors of One Piece. Please go to MatsuriCon's Twitter and website for more information on that. That's through Funimation. And I think that's just about it. Why don't we get into this show? Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I mean,
Sure.
Ready as I'll ever be.
That's my job.
Why wouldn't I be ready, Zach?
This is the manga recap for chapter 832, The Germa Kingdom. We're starting on the cover of Shonen Jump here. And I'm sure all American fans already know Film Gold is happening, so what's going on here, Ed?
Well, we have a background of gold with Zoro in gold and driving this awesome car, convertible with big exhaust coming out the side, and Luffy dressed like
Hunter S. Thompson.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Backcountry.
That's one of my favorite Tobey Maguire roles in that scene. Anyway, and Nami and who's this character from Film Gold yelling at
Karina.
Okay, I've gone out of my way to not know anything about this movie before I see it.
Oh wow!
I'm in the same situation. I beyond knowing the name Guild Tesoro, I don't really know much else. So
Yep.
I'm trying to do that, but unfortunately it's impossible for me.
Yeah, it's much harder for you than it would be for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've don't take this as a cue to spoil me, but I've been relatively spoiler free for this movie. I mean, I know basics, obviously, but
I love the look of the car and how freaked out Usopp is. He's trying to avoid something, but Luffy is excited by it. I just find that funny.
This is a great cover, yeah.
I like the little turtles on the sides of the car. There's lines of them. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
It's hard to see.
above the headlights. Yeah.
I bet you they're the ones powering the car.
Yeah.
I'm curious if in the One Piece world there's a hallucinogenic mushroom devil fruit, or someone has the mushroom no mi, because you guys mentioned Hunter S. Thompson, and he totally does look like him. So,
Again, why it was supposed to be in Vegas. And any other thoughts on? No.
I like the all-white motif against the gold. Looks good together.
I wonder what Zoro's up to. He does not look
The
like
shading looks really good too behind Nami and Karina against the gold background.
I mean, it does look a little bit like a big golden vagina, I'll be honest.
Wow.
Zoro, what are you doing in there?
Oh wow, it's the birth of Zoro.
Came out looking like that.
We thought that was going to be movie 5, but it ended up being this one.
Guys, it's a golden crown.
Zach, I vote for the birth of Zoro to be written down as the title.
That and the Golden Crown, they're going down.
Okay, good.
Going down on the golden crown.
No.
Wow. Why don't we get to something less lewd and talk about the color spread?
I don't know about that.
You just said less lewd?
Yeah,
Alex, why don't you take this one?
yeah. I'll
please.
go ahead and take this. So, so here's the color spread. I'll describe what's going on.
Wait, do I need to do a parental warning before this episode?
No, you don't, because I won't mention, I won't mention anything super explicit. I'll be tasteful about it. That's me. Trust me. It looks like a good chunk of the Straw Hats are fooling around on a little dinghy, a flamingo dinghy, if you will, with some flamingos. And Luffy looks like he's he's jumped out of the dinghy, and I guess Sanji is trying to get out of the water.
It's like the dinghy fell out of the sky.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the focal point really isn't the dinghy. It's Nami and whatever she's doing over here. You see, because whenever I'm soaking wet, I can't wait to drink a whole bottle of water.
All over my face.
Mountain Dew
Pour it
commercial
down my
style,
mouth.
Oh,
5 feet away from my face. Like, there's nothing refreshes me more when I'm soaking wet than just a money shot of Avion or whatever the fuck is the One Piece equivalent. Now, the first thing I noticed about this color spread wasn't the fact that she's guzzling down water provocatively. It's the fact that for the first time in a long time, Nami looks like she's actually got realistic proportions.
She has a torso.
She has a torso. Her boobs don't look, unrealistically gigantic. She looks like a proportional woman. The weird thing, though, is Ed brought this up on Twitter earlier. Where is her elbow? Well, that's a good question. So let's figure this out. So I have determined. I was thinking about this earlier. I brought this into Photoshop earlier, and I was sort of mocking up. This is scientific. Where could this possibly be, anatomy wise?
Wait, you put this into Photoshop?
I did, just so I could figure out where the fuck her arm is. So I came to the conclusion that it is either A, she's either got this water bottle tied up to a piece of twine, and she's sort of dangling it and drinking water that way in a very interesting way, or like a selfie stick, or that is an extremely long water bottle. That's one of the that's one of the extra large that you get at Wawa for $1.50, and you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm paying this little for that much water. What a bargain.
So I actually just stretched out my arm, and I tried to make that pose, and I'm looking, and if your arm is completely straight, if she contorted her wrist to pour the water bottle down onto her face, not meaning to actually drink it, just wanting to pour it down her body sexually, I kind of think that she could do it. I kind of think
to be fair, that is what she's doing.
It would have to be a very long water bottle, as Alex says,
or a very distorted wrist. For sure.
Or here's a third option of what's happening. The water bottle is actually part of one of one of those beach showers, and I don't know. She's just sort of giving a visible high five, or just sort of hanging out while that's happening.
Well, okay, here's my theory. And you could see Sanji's very disturbed looking in that direction. He's not whoa, look, it's someone else. There's someone else there. There's a tent.
Normally Sanji would be having a huge, huge conniption fit over the fact that Nami is looking super sexual. But nobody.
It's
actually,
Jimbei, guys.
Well, his crotch is below the water, so he's hiding something there.
Speaking of crotches, though, something I wanted to bring up is Frankie on the back of the dinghy. If you notice, there's like a flamingo foot tickling his crotch, and then Robin is holding down the flamingo, and she's seductively looking out at the camera. So I don't know if that's confirmation of Nico, Robin, and Frankie, or what's going on.
If it isn't, I don't know what is.
I don't know what it is, but she's definitely using that flammingo.
So that Dockers commercial over there in the background, I don't think that flamingo's foot is definitely in the foreground in comparison to Frankie. But I applaud you for being creative, Roger. That's oh yeah, and on the dinghy it says, "Why join the Navy if you can?"
Wait! Look at Brooke. That's how you could figure out how the reflection of Nami is in there.
Oh my god!
You can actually see what's happening.
Oh yeah, she's got a weird like boom mic arm.
Hold on, what the fuck?
Nami's been a long arm tribe member this whole time.
Well, mystery solved. Myth busted, guys.
Holy shit.
That's why I'm here, guys.
Wow.
Also, I want to point out one last thing here about Frankie. Now, I understand that there's a flamingo motif in this picture. You got the flamingo boat, and you got a couple flamingos there. And Frankie is clearly wearing a shirt that has a flamingo on it, and it says flamingo on the shoulders. But do you not find it a little curious that Frankie, whose original name is Cuddy Flam, appears to have shoulder pads that are reading Flaming Flam?
Also, the flamingo that's on his shirt is standing in his Speedo.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like he's got like a flamingo boner. A flamingoner, if you will.
I do like how the dinghy does say, "Why join the Navy if you could be a pirate?" That was actually some.
That's why.
That was actually some great English.
Yeah. Ivan et Nioj.
This is
I also think it's weird too. Sanji's like looking up at Luffy, but he's also kind of in eye shot of Nami's butt. And any other time, Sanji'd be freaking out and he'd have like heart eyes.
Yeah,
I thought that was kind of interesting when I saw that. Yeah, I don't really know what he's looking.
Sanji's neck is doing something kind of fucking weird.
Yeah,
I think Sanji got knocked off the pier because he's wearing a fucking hoodie. Who goes swimming in that? Like, I think he's like, what the fuck just happened?
Maybe he's drown proofing.
I think he's just kind of like a never nude. I think he's a never nude.
There are dozens.
Well, we all know that's not true.
there are dozens of us.
Anyway, this color spread's gonna bug the hell out of me when I have to look at it for 2 months next year.
That's what I was gonna say. I think I'm skipping that one. I don't think I'm not in my teens anymore. I don't think I could get away with hanging that on my wall.
That's why you need the men of One Piece one.
Yes, obviously, chill.
That's a standing one. It goes on your desk. It's classy.
Ed, what's going on the first page?
Well, we start off with the Oda boxes. Whole Cake Island, Southwest Coast, the Seducing Woods. And they are the creatures of the forest are singing a little bit. They've noticed, the Straw Hats have noticed. Noticed us? Well, not yet. But they've noticed that something's afoot. And they're being played by Lady Brûlée. All these, like the cakes and the flowers and the ground and the trees and the lollipops from the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory are all singing. That's whose prey are they? They'll make a tasty smoothie. And we see that they continue to run away, and they're being chased by a crane with a rabbit on the back. And Nami's like, "Is it coming?" And Carrot says, "It's still on our tail." So Nami says, "We gotta get out of this forest as soon as we can." I love the look on Chopper's face. He's just like scared and determined at the same time. He's like, ah.
I like seeing Chopper in his reindeer form. I feel like it's been a very long time since we've seen that. Well, we haven't seen Chopper that much either.
Mm-hmm.
But, Carrot comments that the rabbit is really tough, and we get a look at his eye, looking at him sort of from a little bit above his eye line. But she says that he's not a mink. Maybe it's devil fruit powers. I think it's Chopper who says that. But he's coming after them, and he starts spinning his spear as he's riding on the crane, and like does a back dismount, and he's doing some flips. Or is that like the
Carrot.
whole? It's Carrot.
Yeah.
It's Carrot that's doing the flips, and she goes back to attack him with a Pele kick, coming over the top with it. And
It's called a back kick. A spinning back kick.
And the rabbit glares at him, and she said, "I knew it. You can't make Electro." And Nami warns Carrot to not get separated, and Carrot knows. So we go to the next page. It's actually some really good action. I love that the kick where the rabbit blocks her kick. That's
This
really
this
cool.
rabbit has no emotions, but I guess we'll probably find out more about that later, dude.
Well, but
So Carrot revs up an electro punch and apologizes to Mr. Bird right before she gets cray on his ass.
I was just gonna say.
Brain.
Someone's getting all
That's
cray. So she zaps the fuck out of him, and he falls down with a crane, which leads me to believe, of course, that not a real crane.
He's Pokemon.
He's a Pokemon. No, I think I personally think he's an inanimate object brought to life by whatever the fuck everything else is, brought to life by.
Like a lawn crane, basically? Like a lawn flamingo?
Oh,
a lawn
please.
crane?
That'd be great.
Sure, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, more than likely. And then we see the rabbit that we've been checking out with the spear. Big Mom Pirates, Crane Rider, Randolph.
Randy.
You must be this tall to ride Randy's crane. So, Randy gets his footing after being, I guess, after jumping off of his crane, and what does he do? He hurls his spear toward our heroes. Here comes a weapon, says Nami, and they both, Nami and Carrot, both evade it. And it hits the weird man lady thing. This what I assume to be an Alice in Wonderland reference, right in the back of the head with a chunk. He remarks, "It's you people again." And Chopper notes that this makes for a good landmark because we're almost back to where Luffy is. We're completely retracing our steps. Meanwhile, Luffy and Luffy Jr. are butting heads. And
It's left Luffy and right Luffy.
okay.
Luffy and Luffy.
Luju. That's right. They're still going at it, the two of them. And Nami, while running frantically, of course, mentions to Luffy, "We're going back to the coast."
And this page won't be difficult to describe at all. The real Luffy, the one with the scar on but this is really confusing because it's his left, but it's not. It's on our right. The real Luffy says, "Hey, where are you guys going?" I'm sorry, I'm gonna spoil the thing where it's like, "Oh, is this the real one?" But it's pretty damn obvious anyway, so I'm just gonna do it. So as Luffy wonders where they're going, Nami says, "We'll talk later. Hurry up. This place is full of suspicious traps." And the real Luffy says, "All right," but the fake Luffy starts running after them. And Nami explains that they have a pursuer, so to run as fast as they can, and then sees the river where they saw the talking crocodile, and they jump over it, over the bridge, just as Luffy is trying to say, "Wait, guys, that's not me." But as he's trying to say that, his mouth is covered by his own hands. And Nami said, "Did you say something, Luffy?" No, it was nothing. It was nothing important at all. And this fake Luffy asks what happened to Sanji, and Nami, none the wiser here, says, "Look, even he's under suspicion. All we know is that he looked like him, but I don't notice that you don't look like the real Luffy at all." And he said, "Look, we'll talk later." I think that's Chopper saying that.
Boy, I'm really glad that, she doesn't have a gun and needs to shoot one of them.
The X, come on. Anyway.
Scar, even. I mean, come on.
It's really obvious with Luffy. Yeah.
It's so weird without it, because it's like the speech bubble's covering up the one on the other side.
Yeah.
It's just really odd.
It's so weird seeing Luffy like that, yeah. Although you see the real Luffy like that in the previous page from the other side, so I don't know.
Confusing.
So everyone is shocked when they realize, wait, we are exactly back where we started, and the big guy says, "Hey, can you get the thing stuck in my head out?" And everyone else is just yelling that they want to get the hell out of there. So Stephen.
And the group is shocked. Carrot is like, but we were just going the opposite way. We were going the way that we came to get here in the first place. And Nami is shouting like, why are you now ahead of us suddenly? And the giant is complaining because they're all yelling at it. And it's like, what do you mean? I've just been sitting here the whole time. Like, I haven't moved at all. You guys just left and then you ran right back as soon as you left. And so Nami just, without thinking, immediately sends Chopper back to the exit, quote unquote, the exit again. And leaving, of course, the spear stuck in the back of the giant's head. So they jump over the donut bridge where the river where the crocodile was. And this is really wearing Chopper out, of course, because he's doing all the heavy lifting here. And sure enough, they skid back into the clearing with the giant again, who is startled for the nth time in this sequence of events. Wonders how many times you're going to keep doing this. And Nami is like, okay, well, clearly here we can see that all of the needles on the log pose are just going crazy. They're all spinning around, but that shouldn't be an issue because it was a straight path that they took. How could you possibly get lost? We just go straight down the path. And we see that the trees and the flowers are very nonchalantly, like sort of Tom and Jerry style. They're just like sneaking across the path here. And then come to a halt when they realize that they've been spotted. Oh, crap. And the jig is up now. Carrot notices that the trees and flowers are moving. It looks like the ground itself is shifting around. Yeah. And he gets spotted too and is talking to Chopper's shock. So yeah, what's going on here? Something is up with this forest, and the forest as a whole comes clean. Well, we've been busted. And Nami comes to the realization that what they thought was the path out was not the way at all. And at this point, the fake Luffy comes up, very much not Luffy anymore. Comes up and kind of puts Nami into a headlock here and taunts her, have you finally realized the danger of this forest? And Nami hasn't put it together yet. She doesn't realize that this is not the real...
Nami, Jesus
Nami,
Christ.
please.
This is not
You were
the real
supposed to be the
Luffy.
smart one.
Yeah.
She's the adult here, and she's failing them.
Chopper figures it out. He doesn't know who Sogeking is. Nami, you're pretty failing hard here.
That's pretty sad. Yes, Chopper realizes that it's not Luffy because these are these seducing woods, and so they turn, and the Luffy figure is transforming into someone else.
The next page, we get the reveal.
Who am I? We. I've been with you all along, running and unable to escape. Don't you struggle now, little missy?
And Nami, of course, is freaked the fuck out, just as I am kind of, because Luffy just suddenly became a woman and 8 feet tall and wearing a dress.
Look at this scar on my face. Isn't it hideous?
And is the 8th daughter of Charlotte Brûlé, another one of Big Mom's daughters. Didn't really win the genetic lottery there. Sorry,
No.
hon.
Well,
And
brulee is also sugar that's been torched with a torch.
It is burnt, like caramelized sugar with heat and stuff. So
Really
I guess
good if I
scared.
recall.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
And it is kind of what her face
scared
looks
to
like.
see the other 7, dude. Like if she's the 8th and she looks like this, I don't want to know what the first 7 look like at all.
I think we've learned that genetically they're all completely different looking.
Yeah, we had the Southern Belle, the Jill. What was her name again?
Praline.
Praline, right?
Oh yeah, the shark girl, right?
Yeah, we had the Shark Girl. We had Pudding.
And
Mr. Gelato, Minister of Moscato.
Lola probably.
and the Italian, the Capone's guy.
And there's also the Lola, the Lola lookalike.
The Lola lookalike, yeah.
Do you know who this looks like? It looks like that zombie tree from Thriller Bark.
Oh my god!
I was gonna I was going to point out that her laugh. Now that is the sound. Like in Japanese, it's wee, and I chose to spell it Wiwi because I got the feeling that it was supposed to be short for witch because she kind of looks like the Snow White witch,
Right.
a little bit.
And
I was going to say she kind of looks like
Gretel.
Yeah, I was going to say she
yeah.
kind of looks like Carly Fiorina a little bit. She's got like a Carly Fiorina vibe.
Oh boy.
Ah.
You don't see it? I do. Totally.
It just reminds me of Corona.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
really obnoxious and
Flowers on the bottom.
somehow
Love
a
to see
fan
those-
favorite.
Those two laughs together.
A little Satori-ish.
Hold on.
I get that too. Okay. Jill, what happens? Let's move away from this scene.
She went wee all the way home.
God.
Thank you. I'll be here all night.
We are if we won't move on. So Carrot, of course, is confused, but immediately thinks she's a tree, which, I mean, we just made that connection, so clearly she is a tree.
I'm not a tree. I'm Brule. A cute little rabbit and a cute little girl. A lovely beauty like this makes me want to tear it to shreds.
And then someone screams. Probably Nami. Possibly Carrot. Probably me, too.
Some sharp nails.
Oh, God.
Nice.
Yeah, someone needs a clipper or something.
She kind of looks like Buggy in that panel.
Oh,
She does a little bit.
The big smile in the
No,
eyes.
don't mention the nose.
what nose?
What's next, Jill?
Otobox?
Oh yeah, Ed, please.
Big Mom's castle, Old Cake Chateau, at a lake behind the castle, Lake Aprico. Only the ships of Big Mom's associates or those soon to join her empire are allowed entry.
So, yeah, we see the Germa ship, presumably the one that we recently left, pulling into past one of the little tarts into Big Mom's port lake. And it's really cool because you see all of the ships, when it's pronounced all clear, the snails go into their shells and the ships link up.
I want to point out, too, just another language note here that the Lake Aprico, so this, in case you didn't kind of put it together with all of the sweets and the dessert stuff, he's kind of making a play off of the word apricot. But in Japanese, when they have named what do you call them, natural features like mountains or lakes or rivers too, they always go the descriptor always goes on the end. So, for example, like with Mount Fuji, they say Fujisan because san is like the kanji for mountain. And it's the same thing with lake, except lake is ko. So, there's a famous lake in Japan, Lake Biwa, that's known as Biwako. And so what he did here is he wrote it as apricot-ko. So it sounds like apricot, basically. But that has the word lake in it, and so I was trying to kind of mess around with it to see if I could sort of combine them into one, because the way he did it actually it's not technically linguistically legal in Japanese, it forms one word in the way that they can't normally. So there was some wordplay there, and eventually I was just like, okay, I just have to go with Lake Apricot because it's sort of like apricot.
Like,
I'm glad you didn't go with Lake Apricot. That'd be a little weird.
Yeah, that's not.
Lake Apricaka or Lake Apritanka.
No, Lake Apricot is the scanlation version.
It's also somewhere in South America, but yeah.
Yeah.
Apricocus. That's like Streptococcus. It's like a
No, it's like titty-caca. It's apricot.
I kind of like that one actually, but I'm going to stick with what I got here.
I don't know. I'm a little annoyed now.
Anyway, so the next page, we see the entire Germa land.
And we learn that it's part of Norway, yes.
Yes, it is. No, it's Iceland, Zach.
Oh, Iceland.
Iceland. Norway is red with a blue cross.
Wait, how the hell would I know what color this is?
Well, I assume it's the darker one. Then, yeah, the blue one, not the red one. But anyway, but you get some Oda boxes.
Germa is unique among all the nations in the world. It is the only seafaring country without its own land. Germa is made up of dozens of ships that move independently and then lock together to form the shape of the nation. It is ruled by the Windsmoke family, which conquered the North Blue with military might in the distant past. The Kingdom of Germa. People around the world fear its military unit, known as Germa 66. Nearly all of its citizens are male soldiers. Their training is constant and never-ending. And it's actually surprising to me how much their entire country is dwarfed by Big Mom's castle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at that. The soldiers are milling about. So one big dude's carrying a box around. Sanji looks on as the grunts sort of do their military training. He's looking on pensively, smoking a cigarette.
What?
And yeah, shocking, I know. But he gets
A lollipop?
we get
No, that's the other one. That's the other Sanji.
You can tell he's deep in thought. He gets 3 ellipses.
He gets 3.
9.
Well, no, it's 9 periods and 3 ellipses.
Oh,
Yeah,
gotcha.
The ellipses are 3 periods each. Yeah.
But his sister finally, he finally speaks up, saying to his sister, "How long are you just gonna sit there?" And she is surprised, I guess, that he finally spoke up.
And there's a lot I want to talk about with this spread. First off, I love this spread. Just because I love the any chance we get to see a broader view of anything. I don't know if we've talked about, I feel like with Greg, we talked about how the different blues probably represent different continents or parts of the world. So clearly, I guess Northern Europe, Scandinavia, and the North Blue. And
But
Germa.
explain the general blondness of the family.
Yeah. I think it explains a lot about North Blue in general.
Presumed blondness.
There's a lot I want to talk about North Blue at the end, and just it's very interesting. But I love the fact that all the ships are the snail, whatever you want to call them. I think that is such a cool idea. Such a cool idea.
We should go.
I just really needed to. I needed to gush a little bit, Roger. Sorry.
That in the like the unified design element of the square ramparts, like
They're Legos.
Yeah, like
Oh shit!
Was that Ed?
Oh shit!
Then those are from Denmark, of course.
Oh man, that's awesome.
But it's
So
also
Denmark.
I don't know. Maybe that might be wrong, but it just sort of dawned on me all
They're all
No,
Dutch.
that's enough evidence for any YouTuber who does One Piece theories. That's it's made of Legos. It's fine, man.
aren't you one of those?
I know. I'm making fun of my own kind.
Oh, I
That's why
see
it's
how this
okay.
is. Okay.
You're all right, Roger.
You can't call me an
Master
idiot
builder.
One Piece theorist YouTuber. I can call myself that.
I wasn't calling you that.
I'm
That
saying.
easy.
I was just calling you a YouTube theorist.
Before we move on to the next page, though, something I want to bring up too, and I guess it's kind of going to transition into the next page, is I'm getting serious Viking vibes from the Vinsmokes too. Like,
Yeah.
just in their design, they seem very much like Vikings compared
It's-
to the pirates that we've seen.
Nordic.
It's
Yeah.
definitely Nordic. It's a
Oda
weird.
loves Vikings.
It's a
Me
weird
too.
combo of Sentai and Nordic that I never thought I'd experience. So I guess we're calling them the Kingdom of Lego from now on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lego 66.
Well, I mean, Lego 66. It sounds like Lego 64 or something. I also like the fact that this kingdom, for those who've seen Soul Eater, that's the thing I thought of when I saw the castles.
The
curvature of the
curvy
buildings.
pillars, yeah.
Yeah, and even the skull with the 6, which is more of a 69, but I get what he was doing there.
Yeah.
6 is rotated. Come on.
Yeah, come on, let's be
Okay.
mature, guys.
All right.
Okay, Roger, go ahead.
Yeah. So on the next page, we jump back to Reiju, who is looking over at Sanji with those nice big sister Wincest eyes of hers, and she says, "Oh, you're so cold." Who says that to his sister after 13 years? And then, how many times do I have to say this? Sanji interjects, and he says, "I cut my family ties with you people. I have nothing in common with this insane type of people who would put up tasteless portraits like this." And then he basically directs the audience to this image of who we presume, spoiler alert, is his father, basically standing over the heads of the kings that he slaughtered. And I actually love this image, like the 4 beheaded kings on the bottom, and he's picking up the crown.
Do you have a thing against kings, Roger?
No, I just think he looks really cool. Like, I think it's a nice image. So
Those heads all look goofy as fuck.
That might be on purpose to temper the brutality of what we're looking at a little bit.
Yeah. And then in a really important note, he mentions in the conquest of four nations, the incident in which we vanquished the four kings of the North Blue all at once. I'm thinking he might actually be referring to something that I'll talk a little bit more on, probably in the piece together or after the chapter's done. But I just want to point that out here.
No, but that's Reiju who's saying that.
Oh, that's Reiju who's saying that?
Yes.
Oh, that's right. I didn't even notice. Oh, okay. She's explaining what the picture is like.
No, it's one of the heads in the painting that's saying.
Yeah, it's the one that looks like Dofi's father.
So Reiju continues and says, Father's dream is for the name of Germa to reign over the North once again. What's wrong with that? Men are inevitably drawn to strength and glory. Why bother sputtering under the radar with that little pirate band of yours? Take advantage of your royal blood and enjoy your life. Look, you've got 10 handmaidens hanging on your every word. And in Japanese male fantasy, he's got 10 maids lined up saying, Sanji, your wish is my command, O prince. And Sanji's eyes are bugging out of his head. He can't believe this. And then she reminds him.
Well, little does he know it's actually a G-rated host club.
Oh, unfortunate.
Luffy gets all the action in this comic.
With his family jewels sticking out.
And making out with Sanji's sister.
Yeah, exactly. So she reminds him, you're royalty, brother. Let the soldiers do the fighting. No money issues to worry about. What's the problem? The Vinsmokes have earned that right through sheer power over the generations, and you have their blood in your veins. And then Sanji brings up, well, why bring this up now? I'm not getting married. And then she says, but isn't pudding just so sweet? I really like her. And I think it's interesting to bring this up because I know a lot of people were talking after they arrived at the shore, the Straw Hats arrived at the shore, and they went through the seducing woods. A lot of people presumed that Pudding were sort of like lying to the Straw Hats. But now it seems like Pudding was not lying. And
No, she might still be
She could still be lying.
think so?
Because look at the person who's complimenting her.
Yeah, why would Reiju like someone, like, if she's being true? If
Well,
she
we don't
wasn't like
know.
some...
Yeah,
We
we
don't know
because
what
I
her
read
deal
it.
is, though.
Could
No,
really
we
go
don't.
either way
Like
still.
Sanji, yeah, I mean, it could go either way, but
Yes.
I kind of read it like Sanji had already met her because she says, like, wasn't she really sweet? As if he had already met her before, you know?
Maybe
Unless-
she just
I don't
likes
know.
actual eating pudding. It's sweet.
Also, maybe. Yeah, we don't even know. Yeah, you keep going. Sorry.
Yeah. So where are you going, Generalissimo? We hear one of the Germy 66 people yelling out, and the father says, to Sanji's room. And then Sanji looks over, and Reiju looks over, and Reiju says, what brings you here, father? And that brings us to the next page.
I like that
Okay,
accent.
so the fact that they're calling him Generalissimo just makes me want, like, now in my head, it's Alec Baldwin. There's a 30 Rock joke in there.
yeah.
Just watch 30 Rock. So here
I'll try and put a clip in the description of that because it's an amazing sketch.
Yeah, it's super good. Very good episode. Anyway, we have a full body shot of Sanji's father, King of Germa 66 Generalissimo, Vinsmoke Judge, or Judgy, I guess.
They call him Judge.
Don't call him Jaji.
My name is Judge.
As someone who has to read the horrible scanlations every week, and it was translated as Jaji, I was so angry, and I could not wait until Steven's official translation.
Well, I mean, like,
finally put it to
bad.
bed and said it's Judge.
well, actually, I kind of want to ask you where you were coming from with this, Stephen, because if we were going to follow the naming convention of Sanji's family, you could have done Judgy or Judgito.
Yeah. Yeah, no, actually,
Judgito,
it's kind of interesting because that had not even occurred to me like until today when I saw that people were like, oh, he spelled it something different, because my immediate first impression was like, oh no, this is the only way I could really see translating this. And yeah, there may be something there that is true, but I don't think there's certainly the way that it's phoneticized is not quite as I guess I would say sort of Japanese sounding as the names like Sanji and Yonji and Reiju. And yes, there is a bit of a pattern in terms of the sound there, but I don't think it phoneticizes well into English. Like, I thought about it for a minute or so, and I was like, yeah, no, nothing really looks good aside from Judge. And I think there's kind of an added bonus to that in from the English perspective because it fits his character so well, because he's clearly a character of such kind of imposing authority. Like the judge is like the figure of absolute. You cannot defy the judge, and he also kind of very clearly sort of stands in judgment of Sanji as his son. And so I thought that was perfectly. I don't see any reason why I would have gone with anything else. Worst case scenario, if there ends up being some like SBS question about it, you can always just say judge and then put in parentheses like JAJJI just to make the pattern clear if someone asks Oda about that. But otherwise, I'm very satisfied with having his name be this.
Well,
that'll work.
I was just gonna. No, never mind. Go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, he comes in, says, "My name is Judge," and then Job says, "What kind of name is that magazine?" So here we have Vince Smoke Judge, or Judge Vince Smoke, depending on what you're going by.
I think we got to stick with this order. I think we're too far in the series.
Vince Smoke Judge, and he is indeed the person in the portrait. Not as futuristic looking as the other Germa members that we've seen in his family. He's kind of got this, as opposed to a Sentai hero, he actually looks more like a Sentai villain. Sort of like, like a big bad.
Actually, I was going to say, no, it's too bad we don't have Joey. Joey might know who I'm referring to, but like when I saw his mustache and his weird little like goatee thing, I actually thought of this character, Boyaki, who is like one of the
from the Doronjo gang or Doronjo gang from Yataman, yeah.
Yeah. Because he sort of has that, like, he has the really weird, goofy, like, double mustache, kind of a little bit like a Waluigi meets Dick Dastardly sort of thing going on.
Yeah, Boyaki and Tonzura.
Except he looks way more badass in this form.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. Foxy kind of looks a whole lot like Boyaki as well. Mm-hmm. He's got that really long nose.
Right.
And I thought that him and Hamburg were supposed to be Tonzura and Boyaki,
right.
and Porsche Portia was supposed to be Doronjo.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. Yataman's cool, by the way. Anyway.
Sanji has the exact same goatee that his dad does.
Yeah. His dad has got a huge butt chin too, which means he is a man. Like, he is a man's man. I think in a old SBS somebody asked Oda about Frankie's chin, and Oda said, well, it's not just a butt chin, it's a butt chin, so he's extra manly. So that's what I'm kind of looking at here. So here's Judge Vince Smoke, or Vince Smoke Judge, and he says, "Are you still complaining, boy?"
Yes,
of course. And of course, Sanji says, "Bastard, my son." Don't talk to me, he says. "I have a father, but it's not you," which is
also great translation on that.
Very powerful.
He's talking about Zeph, like
very powerful.
Yes.
Yeah, really talking about Zeph. The handmaidens are aghast.
"Did you do something to Yonji? He is quite powerful."
And Sanji says, "Well, I guess I'm better." So I guess there was a previous altercation that we didn't see between Yonji and Sanji. And then he says,
"Come outside. Men speak with their fists."
And we get a don to be continued. So that's the end of the chapter.
Yeah. Skip straight into the to the fighting your father.
Yeah.
And there we go.
Fight me, old man.
It's go time.
Oh God!
Take the car out tonight.
Sanji Ranger.
Mandelbaum.
Oh, thank you.
Are we gonna see like Sanji's mom at some point, and like all of the Sanji's like issues with women are gonna come right into focus? That this is all some yeah.
I think that's where we're headed, actually.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And one thing I want to point out, I'm sure you guys probably noticed this too, is Judge Vince, or Vince Smoke Judge, has a helmet on, and he's covering up his eyebrows.
Yeah.
And so my guess is because Sanji's eyebrows are different from all his siblings' eyebrows that curls the other way, I'm guessing his father has the same eyebrows that Sanji has. And so that is like why Sanji is the true heir to the Vinsmoke family.
Oh my God.
Is because he actually has the eyebrows going the other way. And if you look at the image with Judge, like the close up on his eyes with the helmet on, you can kind of start seeing the curl going in the opposite direction where it's curling in as opposed to curling out.
That could also just be his
It's just brow, his fur.
his brow, yeah.
Well, there you have it, folks.
I don't know.
There's your RogersBase One Piece theory.
My theory of the week.
I mentioned that exclusive.
I mentioned that in my live reaction. A bunch of people were like, "Whoa, that's really cool!" Because if he's bringing up this fight with his father, and his father specifically says men speak with their fists, and we know Sanji doesn't fight with his fists; he fights with his legs. That maybe Sanji would like kick off his helmet or something, and then we'd see the eyebrows next chapter.
And then he's just ashamed of it. It's like, oh,
or something.
Maybe they both curl in to make like a heart.
You guys,
that's what I'm thinking.
What if they don't curl at all? Maybe that's a trait that they got from the Momji.
Yeah,
Momji.
No, a fan pointed out it would be Maji. We've been hinting at it. We've been hinting at it since 7 years ago that we were Sanji's mom the whole time. All of us.
I can't believe it.
Hey guys,
Sanji's mom was in you this entire time.
I have to protect my son.
Hey guys, did you notice Vinsmoke Judge's hair is exactly the same as Killer's hair?
Oh my God. Okay.
Killer's of Vinsmoke.
I can't believe it.
Hold on, but it's also the same as Super Saiyan 3 Goku's.
But
You
he has
guys-
eyebrows, so.
Anyway,
What's the name? I don't even remember the name of the new warlord. I should really know that.
Edward
Weevil. And same hair as Weevil, obviously. They're brothers.
Also kind of like Cat Viper.
Okay. So now that we know that, Stephen, what did you think of this chapter?
Well, I came out, rather disappointed with last week's chapter, and I believe Roger felt the same way about just kind of the shenanigans in the forest, and so I was very satisfied. Although there still was like kind of we were joking about with Nami like not getting the picture before everyone else did. There was still a little bit of that in this chapter, but I like that, he just kind of wrapped it up and put a face to what was going on. So
that kind of plays into the fact that Nami was kind of slow on the thing of like, well, you find this weird? So Nami's just been like,
she's off her game.
Yeah, she's off her game.
There is one panel during that whole chase where she looks, it's like a really weird art choice of Oda's, where she looks actually like really defeated when she finds out there's no way out. She looks like really like, I think the whole with like no Sanji and the crew being like torn apart again and again, it's really getting to her. She just looks awful.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I was happy to see that we are, at least we're kind of moving towards, some kind of, I guess, confrontation. We'll get more about this brulee thing and what happened with Pudding, which is kind of more what I'm looking forward to than just like shenanigans in an Alice in Wonderland forest. But yeah, I really like the Germa stuff. Like we're starting to get more of the the background in Sanji's family, and I think we're. Even just this scene with Judge, you see a lot of the source of Sanji's antagonism toward his family, and I'm really eager to see more of that because I was a bit of a skeptic when they sort of threw in like, oh, Sanji has this big backstory, but I'm eager to be blown away by kind of the family dynamic that is going on here. And I guess we'll see some of that soon.
Roger.
Yeah, I mean, I loved this chapter. I was exactly like what Steven said, really disappointed with the chapter before, just because it was like enough already. We've been to all these islands. The islands are going to be made of food. Like, that's no huge surprise. Why are you going over and over about this? But once we got into the Vinsmoke stuff, and actually the little mini fight between Carrot and Randy or Randolph, whatever the guy's name is.
Randolph Scott.
Randolph. I really enjoyed this chapter a lot. And I feel like there were a lot of details here, specifically in this chapter, where after this arc is over, we're going to come back to it and be like, oh, that's what they were talking about. Just like when Sanji was bringing up, or not Sanji, Reiju was bringing up the conquest of the Four Nations thing. And all the stuff like I mentioned already with like the helmet and the eyebrows, and even with Randolph, like I found it very interesting that Carrot pointed out that he's not a mink, and that he's something else, and that Chopper thinks maybe he ate a devil fruit, so maybe he's like a rabbit devil fruit user or something. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this chapter a lot. I think there was a lot of cool information. I think the transforming kingdom of boats is cool. I think having Brule attacking Nami sort of sets up a cool potential fight between Nami and Brule, because I kind of feel like the women of One Piece don't really get a chance to fight all that often, and I'd love to see like an actual one-on-one fight between Nami and Brule. I think would be really cool. So yeah, lots of cool setup this chapter. I'm digging it.
It won't be with Robin, I'll say that much. Jill, what did you think?
I mean, it was an okay chapter. I didn't really have any big issues with it. It wasn't. I think it really took off for me once we got kind of into the Vinsmoke stuff. I mean, I like Brule. I haven't met a single one of Charlotte's children that I haven't absolutely loved their designs and their personalities so far. But the Vinsmoke stuff is so cool. I just really love like the snails coming together to create the country, because I didn't even think of that. I was like, oh, seafaring country. It's got a bunch of ships, and I was like, oh shit, Lego country. But yeah, and Judge. Oh god, I love his design. His feet are so small. Like with the rest of his body, he's got like tiny little feet. But like
it's like the Trump complex, but with his feet.
Yes,
my feet are huge. They're fine. My feet are fine.
I've got huge feet. But yeah, I'm just really interested in all the family dynamics here, and I wasn't a fan at the whole like secret royal family bloodline. Never have been a fan of that trope, but Oda's doing it really well. It's really interesting. Really excited to where this goes.
Dude.
Yeah, I was pretty underwhelmed by last week's chapter as well. But I'm usually into whatever Oda dishes out in terms of adventure, and I'm kind of glad he's putting a pin in it early. Brule's design is really neat. It makes me wonder if Oda has named and designed all of Big Mom's children.
Of course he has. That's like,
well, if you remember all the way back,
my fingers that he has actually.
When Dressrosa was still wrapping up, there was that the notebooks came that from that Shonen Jump special DVD thing, which is now available in some stores, even in the United States. Nice. But yeah, I think he did.
Yeah. So I would love to see a fight between her and Nami. I'm not getting my hopes up or anything, but Nami was just given an upgrade to her Klimatakt, so I hope that we get to see a little bit of that action. I love Lego Germa, so good. That's such a neat idea. Like, how could you? And I wonder if it's interchangeable as well, or if there are certain formations that need to be taken when Germa reassembles. I think that's very interesting.
Or if they just like fuck up and then someone's house is on the other side and it's like half of it's there.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe they like turn into a giant robot or something when they put all the castle pieces together.
Oh god.
Some weird way.
The snails.
I didn't even realize it until we were talking about it, and and you could see the lines with each one. I didn't even like see that before. Yeah.
I love, by the way, how in this particular arc, like, women are not swaying Sanji. Like, they're like clearly
just a little bit.
Tiny little bit.
But not like, he's obviously doing his love cook thing, but not like overly, because he's he has to do this against his will. He's leaving his crew. Like, it's a huge deal. And I love my favorite part of the chapter by far is when he told, he was basically, shut up, Judge. And proclaimed that he had a father that wasn't him. That was super good. I guess he was proclaiming no judges.
Okay, is that it, dude?
Yeah, I just wanted to add more fuel to the fire.
Yeah. Ed.
Well, this chapter was a bunch of fun. I'm a little curious as to where this whole fight with Brule might be going, because it seems like the preliminary fight that'll be over quickly and will lead to some sort of intervention and then revealing of the larger plot. I just don't. I don't know. Like, she doesn't. I mean, she doesn't like. I don't know. Like, I like her design, but she doesn't. and this whole plotline.
She's
doesn't
very
excite me
Thriller
much.
Bark, Skypiea, Trial of Ball and Fire, or whatever the hell they were.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
or whatever. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a
Well,
it's a
Ed, I
detour.
think it is a bit of a detour, but I do think it might be an opportunity to showcase what Nami's doing, because usually when Oda gets Luffy out of the equation, it's usually somebody else's time to shine.
Well, the part about that worries me is that we rarely ever get fights done to completion so early in the arc. Like, it's going to be interrupted, and then someone's going to get like taken away, and
That's
But
not.
you're not
Let's
gonna
please
finish
not
the
think
fight
about
like
this. Oh God.
I don't know. It's just where my mind leads me. But I really did it. I enjoyed the setting and like the concept of it, but I'm unsure of where the execution is going. The Sanji bits, though, really strong character work. I like the way he interacts with his sister, and then, as Alex said, just a little bit of freaking out at seeing hot ladies waiting on him. So,
I mean, he's a man.
Exactly.
It's not.
But maintaining the seriousness that is required of him, and basically going straight to the fight me, old man, father-son confrontation that we knew was going to happen. Some people thought was going to be like the final fight of the arc, and it still could be. But I like that they're going to it so soon, like going to the big guy going to fight him right now.
Yeah, I have a few things I want to talk about with this. I mean, the first half, I think I agree with you guys. It kind of feels like a detour. And the other way I think about this is there was all this cool stuff, and we just skipped to the most boring aspect of it. I feel like it's like, I want to visit all those other islands we passed by, or spend more time on an iced over lake with ants. That sounds more interesting.
Or even more time with pudding.
Yeah, or even more time with pudding on a chocolate island, a land of chocolate. I mean, that sounds more interesting than, what is this, some forest with like, okay, the gag with the trees was very funny, but
You're sneaky.
But yeah, it was fine. I think it was fine. That's all. I'm not like, I didn't hate it. It didn't last too long. In the anime, I probably will.
But wait,
Also
Zach,
because of her voice.
every chapter has to be a 5 out of 5. If you don't think that last chapter and the beginning of this chapter were perfect, then you don't like One Piece.
This is why we don't do well on YouTube. I know. No. But the second half of this chapter was fantastic. The Germa Kingdom, I've mentioned my affinity for it. I think the fact that they took over the entire North Blue overnight almost, and I know we had a coup in the actual world today, and to kind of think about that existing that's like basically taking over a continent overnight is, I think, what you're supposed to kind of gather from that. And I think that's just such an insane and cool concept. And I really hope to see or hear a little bit more about how that happened and the Germa history. And I mean, I'm sure we will. It was mentioned, Sanji's just character work in this, and I think it is fantastic. Just his pensive look, on that 2-page spread there, I thought was super well done. You don't need to hear him say a lot to understand what's going through his mind, which I like a lot. The other cool little detail I liked is the fact that, I forget his sister's name all the time, sorry.
Reiju.
Reiju has the 6'6" on her legs, much like her father, the Generalissimo, has the 6'6" by his legs. So I feel like there's definitely a strong tie between her and him.
Are her tattoos, or are they tights?
Those look like they would be tattoos.
Yeah.
I guess there's no way of actually knowing from what we have seen so far.
I love her, though. She's great.
Oh, no, she's
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, I think she's really enigmatic and interesting and personable all at the same time. So far. We've had 2 chapters with her in it so far, so there's a lot more to be seen. The one disappointment I have is that Judge does not look exactly like Steve Buscemi, like I was hoping. So I'm really disappointed about that. But I wanted like the realistic Kizaru like level of Steve Buscemi.
I think Oda might be saving those for admirals.
But this would have been such a
Buscemi
good
Admiral.
Steve Buscemi Admiral.
That's what Green Bull looks like, confirmed right here on the One Piece podcast.
No, Sanji's mom is gonna look like Steve Buscemi.
Oh my god! Wow.
with curly eyebrows.
Yeah, it's like he going into Bronson, Missouri.
Steve Bumaji.
Hey Ma, how about some peas?
Bushiji.
Nice.
Bushiji?
GG? That works.
Okay. Any other final thoughts here?
Yeah, I actually wanted to bring up one thing too, and I mentioned it when I was reading through the pages. Is when Reiju brings up the conquest of 4 nations thing. I cannot think of who originally did this video off the top of my head, but I watched it and I thought it was a really cool idea. Though there's not really any like substantiated proof for it. I think it was Alpha 2 Late 17 who did this. But with that mention of the conquest of the 4 nations fight and like how you could see in that picture that Papa Vinsmoke basically like chopped off the heads of all those kings. If we go back earlier in the chapter to where we see Randolph for the first time, his clothes and his eyes are very reminiscent of Mihawk. And if you remember, when we first met Mihawk, or at least when we got to like Mihawk's island, we found out that his island used to be a kingdom that was then overthrown. So someone brought up the idea online that maybe Randolph is actually like from the kingdom Mihawk is from, and that their kingdom was destroyed by Vinsmoke Judge.
Wow. There's
There's
a lot of steps there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it'd be really cool to tie Mihawk into the story that way, because we haven't really seen him since the time skip. So.
Well, you really don't need to see him, though. That's the thing.
I know we
like,
don't, but it would be cool to see him.
Well, I mean, it's always cool. We don't know what island Mihawk is originally, or where in the world Mihawk is originally
we don't
from.
know where the island is, but we know his island is like, what's it called?
I mean, that might just have also just been merely a design choice.
The Muggy Kingdom is what it's called.
No, that's where he lives
Muggy
now.
Kingdom.
That's where he lives now.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
But that's on the Grand Line. I was under the impression.
Well, the conquest of the 4 nations thing, I assumed, was the 4 nations of North Blue, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I doubt that would be the same island that he was taking up residence on.
Oh, yeah.
Because that would be on the Grand Line.
Muggy Island,
That's right.
yeah, that's in the first half of the Grand Line.
Right.
Okay. Well, sorry, Alpha.
We debunked it. Look, I'm sure we know Brook is definitely now, this is like kind of deepening his involvement in it because he's from the North Blue and they took over all of the North Blue. So of course he knows the Vinsmoke.
Yeah, at this point though, I think it's probably safe to say that one of the 4 kingdoms is one of the 4 kingdoms is where Brook had previously worked as a royal guard.
And it also couldn't have been that long ago that this 4-nation coup happened, the 4-nation conquest happened.
Is Brook from
Unless
North
he's
Blue or
a
West
lot
Blue?
older than we think.
Brook's from North Blue, right?
He is? Oh.
No, he's from West Blue.
It's from West Blue. Sorry about I was thinking about that and I looked it up. So I'm pretty sure he's from West Blue.
Dang, theory's getting debunked all over the place.
No. Brook is from the West Blue, but he worked in the North Blue. That was what you said, right?
I think so. I don't remember. You know what? Fuck it. I don't know. That's why this isn't a theory. It's a discussion because.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I don't remember what it said. What was it? How long ago did they defeat the North Blue?
We don't know, but it had to be somewhat recently because it was his father that did it.
And he looks
unless
well,
he's older.
We assume that was his father, and not just that the patriarch always assumes that sort of uniform or something.
Yeah, I actually wondered also about that. When
that's a hint you're dropping. I feel like go ahead.
When Vito was talking about this comic strip I used to read as a kid. 1, how old is Vito? And 2, like when you saw the comic strip, you see the Germa members and they look exactly like Sanji's brothers. Mm-hmm. So I wonder how what's the deal with that? Mm-hmm. You know, like does every Germa 66 main member, is it a set group or I have to have this many kids so I can have this perfect Sentai team every day.
They're all named the same.
Or maybe he has like certain costumes that get handed down through generations or whatever, and then
hairstyles. Yeah,
I mean they look exactly alike, but at the same time, she does say it's father's dream for the name Germa to reign over the North once again. So that kind of makes it sound like there's some distance between the father and this supposed kingdom. They look exactly the same, though, is kind of what's annoying me about that. And they're wearing the same exact uniform.
Why is he so much taller, though?
Because it's One Piece.
Aren't they beheaded heads laying on the ground?
Well, there's a panel with him compared to Sanji. He's like twice his height.
Oh, you're right.
Well, you have to remember, until your dad is really old and you're a fully grown adult, he's always like 3 times taller than you. It's like the the paternal image. It always towers above you.
Anyway, we'll get to see some fisticuffs next week in the manga, but for now, let's go into some piece together. You guys ready?
All right.
Yep.
On the July 2016 episode of the One Piece Patron podcast, we have very special guest RogersBase plus Jill, Steven, the Dude, and myself and Ed, everyone from this episode of the podcast, joining us to talk about their anime origin stories, how they got into anime in the first place, how they got into the anime community online and offline, and we also talk about episode titles and how we came to the episode title you see here today, plus a lot more really cool stuff. It's over 45 minutes, maybe even an hour, depending on what I put in there. So join us on patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. All those over $10 a month get exclusive access to this July 2016 episode, as well as last month's June 2016 episode, which is also a fantastic one, so please check that out as well. It combines the serious, the wacky, and the insightful, and we're going to be doing it every month, so join us on Patreon for that. You could also get access to seasons 2 through 7 of the One Piece podcast. Really cool perks, which you'll be seeing more about on our website, including t-shirts, mugs, decals, and more. So we'll see you on Patreon, patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. Back to the show. This is the Piece Together segment where we take your wee all the way home. It's probably one of the worst ones.
God.
Let's start on with our emails. Blackjack5 has our first one. This one's for Steven. When the Vinsmokes are talking, is there anything in the original Japanese, like pronouns or honorifics, that the Vinsmokes use that gives us additional information about the dynamics within their family? Do they talk like a normal royal family? He's a linguistics major, so he's interested in this sort of thing when it comes to One Piece.
I would say not particularly. They're actually, as far as Oda goes with his like characterization of the people in One Piece through their dialogue, they're pretty straightforward. Like, you know, Yonji sort of sounds like Sanji, like he just has that same sort of attitude. Reiju, you know, comes across like, you know, just the sort of all-knowing older sister, and Judge comes off like, you know, the not overbearing, but just like the very stern and imposing father figure. But there's really nothing that I've seen so far that is like any more specified than that. I suppose we may find out something more when we see more stuff. And yeah, same thing with like the other older brothers that we saw
they seem like they're
doing their work. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, that you know, they just kind of seem like relatively normal characters for manga. So that's my answer.
Yeah, so we had one from last week, but I kind of like it. This is from Blair, who says, this round of fillers gives me hope that one day my fan fiction will be animated. We got generic characters, attacks that sound cooler in our heads but are really lame, and our heroes acting unusual. What a time to be alive. Seriously, after watching this, I said I interrupted Pokemon Go for this. So harsh criticism.
To be fair, last anime episode, not this one, the one that you guys are going to recap next week, but the Zoro versus Pacetta one, was straight up, unquestionably, in the 2 years I've been doing YouTube, the single worst anime episode that I've reviewed. Like, hands down. I tweeted out an image from the episode of Zoro, like, drawn off model, and then Steven, you retweeted it and quoted it and wrote Attack on Zoro, because it looks like, I don't know how they drew Zoro. Zoro's like standing super tall, has this tiny little head. Picetta's face was all weirded out. You had Luffy and Bartolomeo and Desire looking like Jay Leno with these giant chins like half the time. I don't know what they were doing. Robin looked totally off model. Frankie had this weird shoulder that was like 1/2 smaller than his other shoulder at one point. It was a mess. And I clearly, like, all the budget was going towards Heart of Gold and Film Gold and, you know, maybe the finale episode, because the one that you guys are going to recap next week I actually thought was pretty good, but
That's why you don't let Isayama animate the anime.
Zoro versus Pacetta was just unbelievably bad. Like, oh lord.
Oh yeah, no. I did the anime recap of that with Sam. That was a. Yeah.
Next one comes from HJ. Hello guys. Question for the dude. So here you go, dude. You have a choice of: would you rather one spend 1 month in Impel Down's Crimson Hell? That's level 1.
I know which one it is.
Wow.
What level of One Piece fan are you?
This is why Alex is everyone's favorite. 2, eat food cooked by Luffy for 1 week.
Oh God.
Or 3, be trapped in a tiny room with Law for 24 hours.
3. 3 easily. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I don't look. I don't.
He gets to have all the bread he wants because Law's not going to want any.
Yeah, fuck him. Like, let me make something clear on air. My Law hate is, I wouldn't even call it hate. I would just call it
Annoyance?
Annoyance. Yeah, he's not bad. Like, I think, like, honestly, I really liked him up until Dressrosa happened. Just because I think I just, the revelation that he was a D made me do like a seriously, oh boy, here we go, like hand jerking motion, like, you know, like, okay, here we go, like he's clearly, Law is clearly a fan favorite, and the editors know that, so it's almost like they're pushing Oda to just make him in, like, I don't know, it's like a, like, I don't know, man. Law's fine, okay, he's fine. I just think.
What's your second best choice there, then?
Fine. Between the two, God. Between eating Luffy's shitty food for a week and
dying, probably.
I could go without food for a week.
and being in the Crimson Hell. God.
Wasn't that the one with the spikes too? I mean,
yeah. Spike needles and the burning trees and stuff. No thanks.
I think Luffy's food. At least like you could figure it out.
And Luffy, the only reason Luffy's food was so bad, wasn't it because like they didn't really have a lot of good food left over, and like Sanji wasn't there to cook it?
No, it's because he used it all on one meal.
All the food.
He used all of it.
No, he threw out all the first takes of it.
I'm glad he gave. Well, I'm glad this person gave me a 3 thing, because like, all right, well, like I'm like this is probably has something to do with me not liking Law, but like spending 24 hours of Law wouldn't be too bad. I think the next thing after that would be eating Luffy's food and then the Crimson Hell, because nobody wants to be in prison.
Yeah,
I've heard that,
especially Impel Down.
Also, if it's like you're stuck in an elevator or something, like Law's just going to sit there. He's not going to make small talk. You can just sit there and write it out. Like, if you don't want to interact with him, he's not going to do anything. He's just going to be like,
Yeah. Like
24 hours is nothing.
Like, the reason I don't like Law, basically, is because I think compared to everybody else, he's such a boring character and doesn't really have layers or anything like that. He's standard shonen guy.
He could be from Naruto. Yeah.
I was going to say, I kind of feel like if I saw Law in an elevator, I would be like Bartolomeo for like a whole day.
Same.
How Bartolomeo is to Luffy, I'd just be like, oh, you're my favorite character. Screw what the One Piece podcast guys say. I love you so much. You're up. And then he'd be like, yo, haven't you been on the One Piece podcast? I'm sorry, senpai. I'm sorry.
That would be Law's least favorite choice.
Be stuck in an elevator.
Law's like, I will take Impel Down, please.
It's probably accurate. Last email comes from Blackleg Nami. Hi, One Piece podcast. Something that's been on my mind this arc is that Sanji has been itching for bounty for a while. But that doesn't make sense to me. If he ran away from a group like Germa 666, shouldn't he have tried to avoid getting a bounty? Hope you guys are staying cool this summer. What do you guys think?
That's a good question.
I think he spent so much time away from them, and with Zep, he kind of just... It was probably always on his mind, but I think he kind of figured he was free. Because if you spend so much time with the Straw Hats, like, that's the ultimate freedom there. You probably aren't even, like, thinking about your past.
Well, and also, his family is North Blue base. He's in the Grand Line now. Maybe he thought that their reach wasn't that far.
Yeah.
Maybe. He left him when he was 7. He probably didn't understand it that well.
Go back to the topic of bounties, too, with Sanji. It's like, one thing to me that I think comes from that is that, like, he's on a ship with Zoro, and him and Zoro don't get along. So I think if Zoro's bounty goes sky high, Sanji's like, well, mine should be bigger than yours, you know, and they would just have a back and forth. So I think when he's around Zoro, he cares about it. But when he's not, like, he doesn't really care. Zoro kind of rubs him the wrong way and, like, pushes him to go a little bit farther.
So, Stephen, we're ready for some One Piece podcast piece together questions on Reddit. What do we got this week?
Reddit. We will start off with Grandpa Time, who says, hello, One Piece podcast members. Those of you that are currently in relationships or have been in them somewhat recently, have you ever dated someone and realized later on that they had strong similarities to characters on the show, personality-wise or otherwise?
What the fuck?
Oh, boy.
Oh, Roger, that sounds like a story.
This just sounds like a
not going to share
question.
on air. That's
yeah. That's a very personal question.
It is a very personal question. I guess I will fess up and say now this was something that only occurred to me very recently, but I was sort of like, you know what? Of all the like major characters in One Piece, my girlfriend bears a physical resemblance closest to Robin, like with her hair and like her eyes and stuff, which is actually kind of telling because Robin is one of my favorite characters. So
I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend who didn't look like at all, but acted like Perona. And
that doesn't surprise me at all, Roger.
But it was my first girlfriend moving to LA. So it was my first like LA girlfriend, and she was just awful. And I think of Perona when I think about her. And then my last girlfriend before like just me dating a bunch of people now, but like my last like regular girlfriend kind of reminded me a lot like when she wasn't faking being happy of like Carrot a little bit, I want to say. Like she was always like ready to go someplace or adventure or wanted to do something. So I'd say she was a little bit like Carrot. Yeah.
Anybody else?
She's still cool. I'm still friends with her though.
You guys are braver sharing your personal lives in the podcast.
I'm a YouTuber, buddy. It's what we do.
Oh, that's true.
I've never dated, so
Okay.
When you do date though, it'll be Pedro.
No, when I do date, it'll be Luffy. I have the Team Luffy shirt already. I'm sorry, Shirahoshi. Don't. Yeah.
I've never dated a girl that reminded me of any One Piece character in any way.
That's a safe answer.
I've at least never thought of it like that.
Yeah.
Are you now?
All right. Well, let's move on to the next question from iDash, who says, hey, OPP, the new site and logo look great. Good work. Do you think we will run into all the characters from the cover stories, Django, Caribou, Eneru, etc., again, like we have with Hachi and Jinbei? If so, where would you like to see them come in? For example, Wapol eating the entire cake whole in Whole Cake Island.
Wapol's going to be at the Reverie.
Yeah, we're going to see him at the Reverie.
Like we've already seen him though. Like we've already seen Wapol and Django very recently.
And we're definitely going to see Caribou and Eneru again.
Eneru has to come back.
Yeah. I think with Caribou, we're probably going to see him as early as Wano because he was captured by Drake, or we could see him again like with the revolutionary stuff.
I think Eneru we're going to have the longest amount of time from point A to point B.
He's just going to be on Raftel.
That's the thing is I love Eneru and I love the idea of him just busting back into the picture. But of all of those, he was like the one guy who did like the, Porky Pig, like that's all folks thing at the end of his story where it's just like, see ya, going to outer space.
I mean, and he got his dream. He got his fairy birth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird when you think about it. Eneru won.
Yeah, he's won. And even like Luffy hasn't gotten his dream yet. And Eneru's like, okay, going to space, gonna go on the moon. Okay, I'm here, I'm done. That's it.
I'm sure we'll see him again when the Straw Hats reach the moon.
Space pirates.
You make the joke, but probably.
Canon space pirates.
I didn't say it was a joke.
Good. No, I know. I see it actually happening at some point, as Jilla said thrice. Space pirates. What's next?
All right, we'll go on to Steak and Salad.
I love all of your guys' names. They're all great.
We have some more coming up after this. Hello, guys. For any of your favorite Straw Hats, what are some mildly annoying, unfounded criticisms of them that you hear when people talk about them when they say they don't like so-and-so?
Oh, my God.
Anyone want to talk about Law?
He's not a Straw Hat. Let's make that perfectly clear. Laura is not.
He's a straw hat in law.
Oh,
Wow, that was beautiful.
that was really well done.
No, I hear a lot of people talk about like how Nami's super selfish and they call her like cold and stuff. I'm like, have you been watching or reading the same series I have? Like she's like selfish when it comes to money, but like on her a Punk Hazard, Arlong Park, Fishman Island, she's got a heart of gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good example.
Yeah, I think sometimes Oda does Nami disservice. I think she has like a very good personality in general, and she's got a lot of positive stuff.
Yeah.
But then you have this color spread this week, and
Yeah, well,
I like the juxtaposition of like, yeah, she has like a really sort of base and vulgar side when it comes to money and like possessions and things, but that she also is, very caring about, people in trouble and stuff. Like I like that, the juxtaposition of those things.
I really don't like when people bring up the choppers like just there for merchandise, because one of my favorite arcs is Drum Island, and like his story to me is one of like the saddest and one of the few that I could like relate to on like a personal level. I feel like obviously like that kind of stuff didn't happen to me, but I just feel like oddly enough his story is one of the most human to me. Like it's one of the most relatable, like making a mistake and thinking you upset one of your parents. And I really love Chopper's story, and I feel like he never gets enough credit. And I just recently rewatched on YouTube. They have these little stop motion animation skits that Ben Presto does.
oh god, those are so
Yeah,
sad.
Oh my god, the Cry Heart one
Oh
for
my
Chopper
God.
that retells
Awful.
the story makes me physically weep. Like I don't ever weep at things, but if I ever want a good cry, I turn on that little Ben Presto Chopper thing, and I just like let it all out.
Chopper's flashback is always good for a good cry.
Oh,
yeah.
A lot of people bring up Usopp. Like they give Usopp a lot of guff for being like, oh, he sucks. Just I don't know. I don't like tool around the One Piece community like I used to, but that used to be like a big thing. Fuck you, Usopp's awesome. That's basically.
Usopp took me a lot of warming up when I first got in the series. I found him a little grating in my first watch, but he's definitely one of my favorite characters now. So I understand where people are coming from there, but it is unfair.
As far as my favorite character goes, I'll say Zoro deserves a lot of the criticism he's been getting since the time skip. He's massively powerful, and he's encountered almost no resistance, and he's being kind of sexist. Yeah, he's in for. I've been saying he's due for a SmackDown, and it's probably coming soon.
Yeah.
excited for Wano.
Yes.
Shogun, Jack, man, he's got good fights coming up, I'm sure.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to have that Zoro who faces adversity again, so that we can sort of see the core of his character.
Well, the problem is
So he can
only
open his eye and reveal the Sharingan, right?
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
The problem is he only faced adversity in the first half of the series.
That's-
Like he just got beat to crap in every single arc.
Yeah, we haven't seen Zoro lose a whole lot of blood in a long time.
He has to save it.
it's time
There's
he
only
donated
so much
some.
left.
Yeah. It's been 2 years. He's regenerated some of it, I assume.
Yeah.
What's next, Steven?
Next, we'll go to Gentleman Bastard 12, who says, after reading this latest chapter, I have come to a conclusion. While Robin has always been my forever waifu, the allure of Reiju has become too much, and so I'm crossing over to the other side.
I thought he was going to say Brule.
Now, I know that both Steven and Roger have also expressed their interest in her. I believe Jill and Aaron as well. And therefore, there is only one way we can settle this. I challenge you to a dance off, hands off, no trash talk, no backwalk on the blacktop. Just me, you, that's all. No cat calls, no tag teams, no mascots. Right now, dance off. Props if you can guess where those lyrics are from.
It's from Dance Off by Macklemore and Ryan Lewis.
What?
There you go.
All right.
Boom. There you go.
His actual question, in regards to Brulee's powers, is it possible that observation Haki would be able to pierce through her illusions? For example, a Nami Haki awakening. Is there a range to her powers? For example, if Nami used her new Klimatact to climb above the tree line, could she escape from the illusion? I hope Nami finally gets a one-on-one fight, and it would be especially cool if it was a battle of illusion with Brule using her power and Nami using her Klimatact to outsmart her. Thoughts?
I wonder if Brule has a mirror power.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because the witch, the mirror, the Snow White, and also the way the mirror with Luffy's face,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think somebody online mentioned that it could be the Kaga Nomi because Kagami is
yeah.
mirror. Yeah.
Cool,
As much as
like
I
that.
like all that, I still don't see a full fight being this early on in the arc. It'd be such a good fight if it's that like all those theories are real, but it's too early.
How many
No.
daughters are there again?
Too many.
Well, in total,
Several
aren't there
dozen. I forget the number.
Less than 100.
84?
More than, yeah, there's a lot.
84 or something like that, I think.
No, 85 kids altogether, right?
Yeah.
It's 129 people in the family, I think, because there were 40 husbands.
Something like 30 is in the 30s.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Does it matter?
No, I was just asking because I was thinking how many fights they could like pack into this one arc. So to be honest,
To get to Big Mom, we have
liking
to fight every kid.
30 exactly.
Pudding is the
Gotta go
35th
through
daughter.
us
So.
first.
Because right now I'm liking the Vince Smoke stuff more than the Big Mom stuff.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
like I love the Big Mom kids character designs, but the whole like I don't know Islands Made of Food thing. I don't know. It's just like not sticking with me compared to like the Vince Smoke stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's early though.
I do like the specific matchup of like those two power sets, you know, of Illusion versus Nami's like Mirage powers and stuff like that.
I wonder if
There's
she
good
also
stuff there.
like has like the strength because she definitely like matched up with Luffy's punches and stuff. So if she can mirror that,
Yeah, just like take on the power of the other person.
yeah.
What's the next question, Stephen?
The next one is from Hipsdere.
Oh, Alex, you wrote
Holy
in.
shit!
Yeah, Zach I think this was the one that you wanted to set aside.
Well, no, we could read it, and
Okay.
we'll just talk about
right,
where we'll
so-
talk about it.
Hipsdere says, "Hey OPP, long time Hips, first time Dede. I recently tracked down Greg's interview on the Kanzenshu podcast from a few months back and loved hearing his origin story. You guys have talked about how you got into One Piece, but I was wondering what stories you have about how you first got into anime and manga and what the community was like in the early days of the internet. Thanks, and I hope Greg is alive. We haven't heard from him in forever." Actually, on the topic of Greg, I know he is, while he is busy as usual, he is very excited recently because he tracked down some physical copies of like some of those really old like issues of Jump or like the quarterly issues that had some of the one shot like Romance Dawn things that Oda did, which are extremely hard to get a hold of. And I'm sure he would next time we get him on, we'll have to have him tell us about that.
Well, I want to get him on for Gold. I mean, I asked him.
Oh, yeah,
too.
yeah.
He usually gives us a rundown of the movies after he sees them, and I mean, I'll have to mute myself and leave the room while he talks.
I don't want to be spoiled. Exactly.
Yeah, but I did for Zed, and I didn't remember what he was talking about. I still enjoyed the movie and did not remember what he said, so it'll work. But we'll hopefully do that with him. He's extremely busy, and he's in Japan, so it's hard to do. But the question about our origins, we're going to talk about on our Patreon exclusive episode this month. So please subscribe if you haven't on Patreon, and you could hear that. What's next?
Cool. So we'll move on to Mistress Page. Hi, OPP. I have a quick question. I'm going to put my own scare quotes around quick here. If whichever character from The Simpsons ate a devil fruit, which fruit do you think would best suit them? I personally believe Mr. Burns would eat the Simmons fruit, which enables him to summon a robotic Richard Simmons to terrify his enemies with his crazy workout dance routine.
That sounds more like a stand from JoJo's.
Yeah. If
yes.
if Mr. Burns had any sort of devil fruit, it would be a Zoan type of a dog that when it barks, it shoots bees out of its mouth.
Nice obscure reference there.
I would definitely say that Lisa would probably have a variation of
Apu's.
Apu's. Yeah, with like a saxophone.
Oh, yeah.
Like the saxophone. Or what I'm thinking too, the obvious one that I'm sure someone was going to bring up is Homer with the Paramecia donut fruit.
I was going to say
And,
that.
Yeah, he would totally be in Big Mom's crew and he'd be living on Chocolate Island. And
No, he'd be
yeah,
eating his own head, just like in the
Or eating his head,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
That happened, so we don't have to even speculate
There
there.
you go, boom.
Yeah.
Marge would have the hair fruit.
Clearly. Except when she gets stressed, it starts falling out.
I think the comic book guy would have the worst fruit.
All the fruit does. All the fruit does is allow him to criticize everything.
Yeah.
Or maybe Bart could have like the slingshot devil fruit, where he could like turn his arms into the band of a slingshot and then shoot stuff out.
That is
That'd
such
be
a
kinda cool.
lame. That's almost as lame as the train.
I don't
the
know.
wagon
Hey, how I
guy.
like that.
Worst fruit ever.
That's
Duffman would have the
goofy,
beer fruit.
The tram guy.
Yeah.
Duffman would have the beer. He could give beer to anyone.
We could give the elephant fruit to Stampy, so he's like a double elephant.
Okay, we could do this one for a while. What's next?
Okay. Let's see here. We'll go with Prince of Assassins next. So he has two questions. One of them is about Brûlé with reflections. We already kind of talked about that. So I'll go to the second one in chapter 220, which is back just after...
Do you know what volume that is?
Alabasta, while the monster trio is exploring the wreckage of the Saint Brice. So this is right before they get to Jaya. There is a panel where Sanji looks at a portrait of a smiling lady that is pierced by a harpoon with a quizzical/sad look, followed
I know what you're talking
18
about.
dots. Did you guys ever think this panel was suspicious?
18 dots.
I mean, like a
Ellipses,
like a
I
lead
guess. Yeah.
At the time, no, but now I do. Damn it.
No, I think when we did the read through, I noticed that was like, that's interesting. They put that there. Did the Saint Brice come from North Blue?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
it did.
It
Yeah.
did. Well, okay. We got some interesting stuff
Confirmed.
there. Yeah. No, I mean,
Sanji's mom right there. Bada bing.
well, no.
Raji.
An ancestor, maybe.
Yeah, it could be someone related
Our
to the.
ancestor.
It could be someone from the Lego Kingdom way back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a very old ship.
And
Yeah,
it
it
looked
was on
Nordic.
Skype, yeah.
And it looked
Yeah.
Nordic.
The captain of the Saint Brice is the Saint Moyle.
Oh my god.
Captain the same Brice is Albert or Mel Brooks, I should say.
Yeah.
Yes, some Jew.
Next, we will go to Summer Otaku, who wants to know: can we have the RogersBase's minister name?
Did I not already have one?
Oh,
Did we give you one? I think
Roger, minister of the.
Dodgers.
Oh, that is.
It's from LA.
Minister of Old Codgers.
No, we could
I
do
like
better
that.
we could do better than that. But we need some fan thoughts on
Fan
this.
input, yeah.
I'll try and think as we can.
I feel like my fans would say I'm Minister of Mammoths because I always say Mammoth Boys in all my reviews.
it's gotta
But
rhyme.
that doesn't rhyme.
It's gotta rhyme.
It's got onomatopoeia though. I mean, what am I? Alliteration.
Alliteration.
Jesus,
Nah.
I was an English major. Jesus, Virgin.
Was
What?
past tense.
No, let's just move on. If we think of something, just yell
Okay.
it out in the middle.
All right. So his serious question is: how did you picture Sanji's father being compared to reality? And bonus follow up: did you get Zeph feels from Sanji's one line? He also notes, he doesn't seem as evil to me as I imagine, and in fact reminds me of Endeavor, Todoroki's father from My Hero Academia. In parentheses, basically confused as to why his son isn't happy being the perfect tool he created. He is also strangely both better looking than I expected in one theory I had, and yet uglier than another one, and way larger and jockish.
He should have been Steve Buscemi. I'm sorry. Such a missed
Roger,
opportunity.
minister of the Dodgers. So
We said that already.
oh, really?
Yeah, it's the only one we said.
Been thought out.
There's so many people talking all the time, so I can't. Whatever. It's your fault.
My fault.
Collectively, it's all your fault.
Oh, okay.
Rude.
I don't know. So what was the actual question? It was just I heard the theory part.
How did he compare to what you imagined?
I
You
already-
kind of talked about that. You said this Steve
Yeah.
Buscemi.
I think. Yeah, that's what I think I said that a couple episodes again, that was what I was hoping for. And I knew it wasn't going to happen. But
I actually had no preconceived notions at all of what Dad G would look like.
I'm curious what his quirk, and not in the My Hero Academia sense, is, but just like what his like odd One Piece thing is, because he actually is kind of what you would imagine reading any other shonen series. It's like he's going to be this cool, badass, big guy. So there's got to be something off.
I know
feel
one
like.
thing One thing that I kind of imagined, this is pretty much the only appearance thing that I was thinking about, is you know how like their names are Yonji and Sanji and all that stuff, and then how it means like o'clock in Japanese. Is we saw that one guy like during the reverie setup, right?
With the clock face?
With the clock beard. And I thought, oh, dude, clockbeard dude's probably like related to the Vinsmokes. And it would make sense if the clock face guy was going to be the father of like all the kids of the Vinsmokes. So.
Sir Vinsmoke Clockface.
Clock face.
Clockface, I'm sorry.
But that was the only thing I didn't really, and that was just like his beard. Everything else I didn't really have an idea of what he was going to look like, and I'm happy with what we got.
His beard is clock.
Nice.
I didn't expect him to be so big, but other than that, I didn't really.
Are you fucking kidding? It's One Piece.
I know it's One Piece.
The manga that's full of people who are like, why are you so big? Like,
I just remember that panel of Jack holding the newspaper with two fingers. I love that so much.
Like it's almost like Jack and kind of like they're. I think Oda at this point is just like, you know what? I'm just going to make fun of all the different like giant people that I'm making, but just by making people who are way larger than that.
To be fair, he is a woolly mammoth.
Yeah.
So,
Also a fish man, so.
Yeah.
Also true. He has reason to be gigantic. And we don't know what's up with Kaido, so. Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Next is from All Blue Chaser, who wants to know if One Piece was a game like Pokemon Go, who would it be collecting what? Luffy collecting crew members, Robin collecting poneglyphs, Blackbeard collecting devil fruit users. I'm just going to add in Kaido collecting Zoans.
Sanji collecting ladies.
Why the heck?
It'd be a very hard game. You'd never win.
It's a pirate game about hunting for things. Why in the world would it not be like the Straw Hats hunting for treasure? That seems like the most obvious for a pirate game.
Or it would be
They
unlimited.
never get any. They get it like twice.
Yes,
It would be unlimited
nominated.
adventure. Wouldn't it just be unlimited adventure? You have to collect certain items and then you put them
God.
together. And
Yeah.
But in real life. So it would be like a way more annoying version of unlimited adventure.
You know what I would like, this would be cool, is if there were like Denden Mushi scattered around the world, and then every one you picked up would tell like a different part of the story. That'd be kind of neat.
Like real life ones?
Yeah, like in real life, like you would like be looking at the bushes and you see a little Denden Mushi, and then you like click it on your phone, and then it tells like a chapter of One Piece, and it reads it out.
No, it would be cool if the Denden Mushi actually calls people.
Or you can call it a character?
Or no, you call actual people, and you could actually figure out information through that or something.
Call it like the
That would be
Flintstone
cool.
phone.
Yeah, like the Flintstone phone.
Yabba dabba doo. I like talking to you.
Okay. That's the next question.
And that's what Sanji says. Then you hang up.
What's next, Steven?
Next is from Please Do Not Scream, who has three questions. I'm going to go with the second one since it seems the most interesting. I'm going mad trying to find the connection between Brook and Germa 66. Since Brook spent 50 years alone in the Grand Line, any connection must be with Sanji's grandfather's generation or older, and it seems unlikely to be during his time in the Grand Line, since Germa then would have to leave to conquer North Blue, or the locations don't match up. Since Brook is a convoy leader from the West Blue, my best guess is that Germa sought help from the West during the wars in the North, and that Brook disliked this so much that he left to become a pirate. Do you have any ideas about the connection yet? So we kind of talked about this a little bit, but I don't think it would be that Germa sought help from the West. I think it would have been that he, if anything, he probably came into contact with them when they were working in the West, maybe, since they work on commission, basically. Like people hire them to go and help them fight their wars and stuff.
Yeah, I'm curious. I thought he did something in the North, Brooke. Is that just me? I know he came from the West. I just thought.
I think someone said that once. I don't think it has any basis in reality.
Oh, maybe it's one of those self-propagating things. I don't know.
Like it's come up a couple of times on this episode, and I think someone just made a mistake and we went with it.
I think that was me, and I think I've been the one doing it.
No, that was my bad too.
I don't know. All right, well, whatever.
It's all so confusing. We'll find out probably. I mean, like this is the arc that we'll find out.
Yeah,
obviously.
we will find out soon. Yes.
Right. Next is from Liquid Gaimon, who says, hey guys.
Weirdest names this week.
We know Oda enjoys Game of Thrones, so do you think the Conquest of Four Nations painting was a reference to the War of Five Kings? If so, do you think Oda will mirror that storyline in any other way?
King of the North, Blue.
Dude, Judgy is King of the North. I mean, Judge.
He was. His name is Judge.
Judge.
Well, I guess
Judge mine. I am judging your name. It am silly.
I think it's perfectly reasonable to draw that parallel because we know he is watching that series. Greg is personally reporting back as to his progress as he continues.
Right.
I think he's up to season 5.
Yeah, and the thing that this guy is talking about was fairly early on in the show, so I'm sure he's seen that by this point. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much else we're going to see of it. We've already gotten a couple possible like visual nods with like the X-shaped like torture device things and stuff like that,
and the throne war thing at the end of Dressrosa. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Some people wondered that. I am a little more skeptical, but. Possibly.
I think Roger was the one pushing that when we were on the
throne war thing. Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
We will round out the Reddit with Super Dubes. Actually, I really like this one. Before you skip this for me naming She Who Must Not Be Named, I have a real question and not some dumb theory. Do you think that Bonnie is essentially the Boba Fett of this series? Meaning she has a bunch of unearned popularity. All we know is that she can manipulate the age of people, eats a lot, and has some significance to warrant Akainu coming to get her from Blackbeard. Other than that, she's done nothing. Just like Boba Fett, all he does is talk back to Vader and get eaten alive by the Sarlacc pit. Other than that, he just uses a jetpack and gets shot by a blind man. Is this a fair comparison? Or am I wrong about this?
Well, first of all, he doesn't get shot by a blind man. He gets accidentally hit in the jetpack by a blind man's stick. So that's technically not getting shot. But also this dude is like Super Dubes is right on because just like Boba Fett, you get to see her as a little kid.
Yeah, I think that there is something to that in the sense that, yeah, all you have to do is create a character with a certain air of mystique and then just kind of let them sit there and not do a whole lot and people just take it and run with it. Yeah. So that's a fair. Yeah.
I'll say this.
I'm gonna go one further too. Okay. Along with what you said, which is that I think you also create a character with a crop top and giant boobs, and pervy fans will come.
That's true too.
Yeah.
I think Super Dubes will seem like a fortune teller if years in the future people listen to this and say he was the only one who realized that she wasn't important at all.
We just get to the end of One Piece and Bonnie is never mentioned again.
Exactly. It's like, what happened to her?
No, you see at the end of One Piece, they have like the epilogue where they're just going back and seeing like what people are up to, and Bonnie's just reading a newspaper, like, that's my generation. Like,
eating pizza.
Yeah, literally the same thing we've seen her do the last 3 times we've seen her.
After graduating, Jewelry Bonnie became a professional food eating contest champion.
Knowing what we know now, though, to make it kind of serious, and I don't think I've ever answered this while I was on here, do you guys think there is a connection between her and Big Mom? Because at this point, it seems like there has to be. With the food, her ship is made of like cake or whatever, and she eats nonstop food, and all the islands are food, and she has the same lipstick, and like, I don't know, man. And Akainu was scared of her. Remember, Akainu was like, "Oh, I was worried about you." Because if she was one of the daughters of the Yonko, then of course,
maybe she's Big Mom's mom. Isn't that like one of our things?
I mean, that could. There's got to be something.
I'm pretty sure she's related. There's too much coincidence at this point. I mean, we'll see, but it's
Big Grandma.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna take a risk. I'm gonna put her in the Bonnie Fett category. I think
Big Mama.
Big Mama.
All right, so that's it for Reddit. Thank you, Stephen, for going through those with us. Ed, it's time to.
Peace the tweet. Yeah.
Time to take those Twitter questions, comments, theories. Ed, what do we got this week?
First question comes from QuipQuest. The last red poneglyph is the red line itself. The letters are so big they have to be viewed from space. Thoughts? Okay, well, it's a road poneglyph, so probably not.
Boo.
But they are red. Is that what he's confusing there?
I mean, no, he's confusing it because the horrible scanlations call it red.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. What's going on here?
Okay. Yeah, they are a different color though, right? They were red, right?
They are red poneglyphs.
But they are the road poneglyphs, but they are colored red.
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah.
I mean, I like that. That's a very Gurren Lagann idea. It's the first thing that pops into my head. Like, the whole planet is a giant poneglyph. Doesn't really make sense, but it's fun to think about.
Yeah. Martin Linvid asks, did Arlong's plan make any sense?
No.
He wanted an 8-year-old girl as a navigator, while she also traveled to collect money for him.
What a coincidence! I wrote an editorial about this a few months ago called "The Folly of Fishman."
It was more that he wanted her to draw maps for him, right? And so she had to go out and like steal money and make maps at the same time, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, he thought he was going to conquer the whole damn world with East Blue as his starting point. What was he going to do as soon as Garp showed up? What a dumbass.
Accurate.
It's like, yeah, he's basically going like first step Rhode Island, next step the world.
Who hasn't said that? The governor of Rhode Island, she's like wringing her hands like, excellent. The world is going to be mine in 8 years once I find a navigator or whatever it is.
Yeah. Once I find a little girl to make me maps.
Screw GPS software. What's next?
The Kaizoku Rufi asks, I was watching some Marineford dub, and Tashigi mentioned that Mihawk's sword was one with the highest grade. Do you believe that Zoro might come into possession of another sword of this caliber in the future?
Yes.
Wano. Yeah. Yes, accurate.
The question is, which will he get rid of? Or will he become the swordsman?
No.
No way.
No, it would be the Kitetsu, if anything.
Which one was the Kitetsu? That was the
cursed sword.
It's also the sword that has the least personal significance to him.
Yes,
I think
that's true.
Mm.
He needs to keep the first one. And he needs to
wouldn't he give back? Wouldn't he give back to Wano Country Ryuma's sword? Like, wouldn't that be the?
He wanted it, though. He doesn't think he stole it.
That's possible, but I think the people of Wano will understand that as sort of a martial society, he defeated the guy who was holding the sword, so I think he gets it. Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Also, I don't think he cares about tradition. He just cares about the fact that, like, rightfully, it's his.
Moreover, if Zoro takes part in defeating Kaido, I think he will definitely be like, "Hey, keep the sword. Thank you for this. Keep the sword."
Yeah, I mean, the only other way it would happen if he doesn't give it up is if one of his swords broke. But there was that whole thing with Mihawk about you can't let your swords get damaged because you have to use hockey.
Right. I mean, and the other reason I think it would be Kitetsu that he gets rid of is like the dark. The Shusui is basically his everyday sword now. It's what he uses most of the time, isn't it?
I have not noticed that.
No idea.
I think you're correct.
Yeah.
I'm not positive, but I think you're correct.
Yeah. He doesn't bring out the Wado Ichimonji very often.
No.
It only goes when he's using 3 sword style. It goes in his mouth.
Yeah. I think you're right. Yeah.
Dr. Valkyrie, next question. Comparing Big Mom to Brûlée, Brûlée seems older than her mother. Do you think that Big Mom's fruit possibly grants her slowed aging?
Or accelerated aging to Brûlée?
Look, her name is Brûlée. It's probably a fucking reason. This poor woman, something happened to her.
Hence the scar.
Sugar.
Yeah.
She's burnt.
Did you notice the scar on her face?
No, I didn't.
It's quite large.
And in charge. So that's kind of interesting, though. I think that the life force has something to do with Big Mom's power, and that could be granting her youth. But Big Mom also is pretty homely herself, and could be old as balls as well. So
it really all depends. If I was trying to think about this by how many kids she's had, how many could possibly be multiple births.
All right. Well, if you're bragging about how many kids she has, it's the face is the least of her troubles. Let's just say that.
That way lies folly.
Let's please not get into this discussion again.
She's still having children.
Right.
That's who I don't know why that reminded me. That's who Brûlée reminds me of. Brûlée reminds me of Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. That's who she, with the nose and the scar and the weird hair. That's who she.
Well, we'll know if like Luffy does something shocking at the tea party and her eyes bulge out and her tongue bulges out, like claymation style. Yeah. We'll know it's Large Marge.
What's next, Ed?
It's fault.
Shout out to Halcyon Dawn for making the Ma-Ji joke, Sanji's mother.
It's a great joke. I'm sorry I stole it earlier.
Zach, this one's for you. 91 Ryan asks, hey, Zach, what kind of lawyer are you?
The boring kind.
Yeah, that's as far as we'll go. Also, if the Straw Hats had their own YouTube channels, what would they be about? Roger?
That's
Sanji-
Roger.
Yeah, I got this.
Roger
All right.
Field, this one.
All right. Sanji would have a cooking channel for sure. He'd be like Rosana Penzino, and he'd have tons of fans because he'd be like an attractive dude, and so he'd defend girls all over the place. Zoro, I could see having a channel.
How to sleep better.
How to sleep, or he just talked about
cutting
sports.
things in slow motion.
Yeah.
Oh,
shopping. But I think Zoro would have a collab channel with Frankie, sort of like those guys who make the weapons from famous things.
Oh, Man at Arms. Man at
Yeah,
Arms.
and then so Zoro would be the one who chops up the thing with whatever.
Or
Frankie
or Frankie and Usopp would have the joint thing where they both just make shit.
Yeah.
I think Usopp would be with Frankie too. Yeah, I think Usopp would have a secondary channel where he would just like make up stories.
No,
And he'd,
Usopp would be Mythbusters. Usopp would definitely be. Yeah,
Robin
I know
has
it's
like a
not YouTube,
historical one.
yeah.
Nami's a webcam girl.
Yeah, I was gonna say beauty channel for sure. Not even a question.
Get that money.
Let me think. I gotta think who the other ones left. Oh, Chopper.
Luffy,
Chopper would be like a vlog. I don't know what Chopper would be.
WebMD.
like first aid stuff.
First aid stuff. I could see that. Yeah. Luffy.
Brooke obviously is the cover.
Musician.
He does guitar covers of shit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And we still haven't figured out one for Luffy though yet.
Luffy's just 6-second vines where he just fucks with people.
He was have vines. Damn, Dopey. Damn.
He's a monkey. He's got vines.
Back at it again with the purple pumps. Damn, Dopey.
Luffy would
Jesus Christ.
Luffy would do unboxing videos just because why the fuck not?
Of food. Of Sanji's like bento that he sends him.
But
I don't
that
think
was-
he'd waste his time with that. I'm going to be honest. What's next? Yeah.
That was actually our last question.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yay! I mean,
So that's the end of piece of good for the week.
Alex loves hearing from everyone.
no, I know, I really do. It's just that like the last couple piece togethers that we've had have been super long.
Yeah, this one was under an hour, so that's good. So yeah, thank you for your piece together. Next time Alex is on, make sure to send more. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Just for him.
Yeah, just for him though. Just about Bonnie, and Law, which I think we covered this time. So yeah, thank you all for sending those in, and why don't we round off the show?
Right.
Cool.
This has been episode 428 of the One Piece podcast for July 18th, 2016. Good episode today, you guys. Chapter 832, Piece Together. Next week, we'll be doing the anime episode that's not airing next week, the one that aired this week. Please keep an eye on the site. One Piece Film Gold comes out this weekend in Japan and almost everywhere else. So, yeah, be sure to keep an eye on the website. I'm sure there's a lot of crazy news that'll be coming out, reviews. Hopefully we'll have our review of the movie. I don't know if we're going to do a written one, but we're definitely going to hopefully have someone on the show who has seen it. I think Kelly's in Japan right now, going to see it this weekend. So that's exciting. I definitely want to hear anyone's thoughts for those who did see it. You know, general reviews without going specific. So feel free to tweet us if you see the movie this weekend or next week.
There was someone on Twitter who was in Abu Dhabi and had
Several.
And well, at least one of them said that it was the best One Piece movie that they'd seen. So
I feel like going.
on the trailers.
The trailers look fantastic. The music, I mean, Dude and I have been talking. We're going to do several segments on the music at the end of the month and early next month probably, because there's a lot of albums coming out. There's also some actual like One Piece soundtrack albums, so I'm looking forward to those.
Yeah,
too.
there's a new BGM album coming out. I'm so
The
excited.
first time in, I don't remember when, like a real one. I mean, the New World one came out.
That doesn't count because it was
that-
part of a DVD set. The last technically the last BGM set was Music and Song Collection 4, which wasn't even called that. I just call it that because that's basically what it is.
I mean, the Dude and Zach's Dance Carnival's personally like one of my favorite segments to do, so I'm looking forward to doing that again.
Yep. And I don't think we've done a new episode of that in like 2 years.
At least a year or two, yeah. But now that's also because nothing had been coming out.
Well, we could also. I mean, it's also laziness on my part.
It's a lot of
I'll be
time
honest.
consuming. It's not.
It is very time. It's not easy to do.
Yeah, so we're going to be busy. So yeah, look forward to that in the next couple weeks. I think though for the Abu Dhabi thing, of course they thought it was their favorite one. I mean, they got to go to the red carpet One Piece event. That experience alone would make whatever movie I was seeing there probably one of my favorite. But not diminishing the fact that it was probably a great movie if they said it. But I'm sure that like sometimes it's the experience. There's many reasons I hated Avatar, for example. One of them is I had an awful stomach ache, and the other reasons are more obvious. Anyways, so yeah, please let us know what you think of One Piece Film Gold if you're out there. I'm very excited to see that one. I think that's just about everything. We'll be talking a lot more about MatsuriCon in the next couple weeks. Please RSVP on our Facebook if you're going to be there. We realize it's a smaller convention, but that means you get to see us and you get to like say, hey guys, and you get to interrupt us in the hall, and please do that. Especially to Ed. So we're really excited to get to talk to fans and probably a more intimate setting than like the big cons. So, very excited for that. Plus, all the One Piece voice acting crew, just about, except for Robin and Nami's voice actresses, will be there. Plus, Crocodile and Hancock's voice actresses will be there. So, yeah, I think that's everything. Roger, where could people find you?
Sure. You can find me at RogersBase on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, and on Instagram. I'm RogersBase everywhere. I'm on PSN. I'm playing Burning Blood, playing fans. So if you guys want to fight me, send me a little PSN friend request. Also, this upcoming week, I have a lot of stuff coming. Wednesday, I'm wrapping up. I know this isn't One Piece related, but it's anime related, and there was a question about it. I'm wrapping up my 3-week-long Boku no read-through, in which I read through all of My Hero Academia and catch up to the current volume, and that's going to end this Wednesday. It's a 7-hour live stream. It should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to talking to all you guys there. And I know there's a pretty big overlap between people who like My Hero and people who like One Piece because they're both in Shonen Jump. And then what else? I'm going to Disney World in a week from now. So if you guys see me over the next weekend, you're going to be at Disney World. Look out for me in the Bit Block. We're going to be doing Pokemon Go videos.
Did you win the Super Bowl recently? Sorry.
No, I did not win the Super Bowl, unfortunately. Otherwise, don't they usually say Disneyland? Or
You see, I was thinking about it. I have no idea.
Yeah, I actually don't know. And then the other thing, too, is I just put up my review for the One Piece Film Gold lead-up episode 0, which was actually exclusive to 7-Eleven in Japan, which is really weird.
Well, the other episode 0 was exclusive to, what was it, like a food company? And you had to buy like a...
Yeah, House Foods.
Well, if you download the app, you could watch it. So I downloaded the app on my phone and I watched episode 0. And it was funny. A lot of fan service. It was good. So my review's up for that. And I think that's everything. So
so it's like that one they did for Film Z. What was that one called? That had a lot of fan service. I can't remember the name.
The one like in the lead up. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. But thank you, Roger, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Dude, where can people find you?
Twitter, Tumblr, Vine, Instagram, @dude! All one word. You can also hear me on 20 Minutes of Bullshit. Well, you can hear me at reruns. I think we have another episode in the can.
Yeah,
right?
two episodes are coming out. Our subsites are currently, going in flux because we're moving things over to our new server. So expect, Schmaltz and 20 Minutes to have some issues for the next week or two, but we're getting them up. They'll be bigger and better. Plus, we'll have a site for Toho Yaro, which I know you're also in, dude.
That's right. Speaking of, next episode that we're doing is Shall We Dance? So look for that August 1st.
Gold Lion Shiki.
That's right. The voice actor of Gold Lion Shiki is in the movie.
Are there any crocodiles in the movie?
Crocodile. Probably not. I actually haven't gotten around to watching it yet.
He does wear a ridiculous salsa wig.
It's better than a wheel.
Yeah. Some important dates coming up. If any of you listeners are in the DC area, which probably not actually, but if you are, I'm in a cool show called Die Die Die. It's an improvised musical. You can go to witdc.com or witdc.org. I'm sorry.
It's an improvised horror movie, Alex.
Yeah. What did I say?
Musical?
Oh Jesus! I'm sorry. That's iMusical. Also, if you're in DC, you should see iMusical every week because they're great. They're on every Friday at 7:30. They're the improvised musical.
Ed, you ran into a fan in DC, so they're there.
That's true. Yeah. So Die 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 is an improvised slasher film where we play on a lot of tropes. Slasher like tropes like from Halloween or Friday the 13th, that kind of thing. Ed saw my one of the shows last week, and
he was a fat camp slasher.
Yeah, it was great. He had a lot of nice things to say. July 30th and August 6th are going to be the last 2 runs of that show, and I'll be in them. So if you're in DC, please check those out. And if you're going to be in Baltimore for Otakon. See, this applies directly to most fans of our podcast, I think, more than the last announcement. If you're going to be in town for Otakon, Super Art Fight Unleashed, which is our 18-plus show, we're having that at the Creative Alliance on that Friday, August 12th. That will sell out, so if you're going to be in town for that, please come check us out. We're a cab ride away from the convention center, so please come to that if you wish.
Jill.
Yeah, so I'm Twitter, Tumblr, basically everything is Pirates Unlock. I missed last week due to Pokemon Go and my new cat Arya Stark, so I wasn't able to do my editorial because I forgot. But it should be up on Wednesday this week. I'm doing my own little kind of recap of the stuff that I went through in my recent One Piece anime marathon, and just kind of going through stuff that I noticed, music, animation, different kinds of things like that. And I should hopefully have that up on Wednesday.
Yeah, and before we completely round off, I went through everyone who's here, right? Stephen. I always do that with you, Stephen.
You may follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus. And while Anime Expo might be the biggest thing aside from San Diego Comic-Con these days, there is still San Diego Comic-Con, which is coming up later this week. And if you happen to be one of the lucky attendees, you can come and see me on a panel. That will be Thursday at 7 p.m. in room 9. It is called Lost in Translation. And it will be moderated by former Animerica editor Julie Davis. And in addition to me on the panel, we will have Mari Morimoto, who is the Naruto translator, Michael Gombos, who is the licensing director for Dark Horse, Lillian Diaz, who did Princess Jellyfish, and Mark Simmons, who is not a translator, but is the walking consultation encyclopedia for all English releases of the Gundam properties.
Thank you, Stephen. I can't believe Comic-Con's already coming up here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This year's going
I'm
fast.
not ready.
Whoever is.
No.
I definitely want to mention, though, that the website has been overhauled. We talked very briefly about it earlier, so please visit it. Let us know what you think. Give us feedback. New logo. There's also a new editorial out from Kyle, When Romance Dawned on Kyle, which is similar to what we will be talking about in our exclusive Patreon podcast, which will be coming out either a little bit later this week or next week. So please give a listen to that as well. Subscribe to us there. Ed, where else can people find us?
Zach, you are Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am Edward E. Festizio on Twitter. The podcast can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. OnePiecePodcast is our Skype name. Go to reddit.com/r/OnePiecePodcast and leave us some piece together there. You can subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Google Play, and subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
Ed, that phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
For Sanji's mom.
Anytime.
We only, the number actually goes straight to Sanji's mom. So that's,
Boy, you guys are going to feel super bad when we find out she's dead or something.
Oh, boy.
Probably.
I mean, considering the track
it is One Piece after all.
Probably.
Dead Moms, the manga.
It's the other name for One Piece. Next week, we'll be going through chapter 833 and the latest anime episode 750, which is the ending of the, the filler. And then the Zo arc begins in the anime on July 31st.
I can't wait.
And it's with the animation director that we interviewed for OPP Japan, Shigefume Shingaki, so check that one out. So that's a really cool honor that he has. I'm really excited to get into that arc. I've become more of a fan of that arc the further we get away from it. And I liked it then, too, so that says something. Anyway, I think that's it for the podcast. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.